Dear visitors, I'm your host, Fago Speech, and this is the Paper Theater. It's basically a forum where I express my ideas and opinions about two-dimensional art that takes largely the form of books. Today's book we'll be talking about is The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. Now, Eleanor Catton won the Man Booker Prize for this book in 2013. The Luminaries is a murder mystery with a supernatural twist that takes place during the gold rush of the 1800s in New Zealand. Right. So I actually didn't know all the hype around this book. I basically knew about it, but I didn't pick it up or anything. I saw the cover and it really drew me in, like this old painting with like the cutouts of the moon. But I didn't pick it up till one day when I was in Indigo, and I just kind of sat down because I was tired. And I just picked up the first book that was sitting around, and it happened to be this one. And I read the first page, and I was like, oh my god, the imagery is so beautiful that I just had to read. So this book is divided into different parts, as well as chapters. Each chapter has a little description at the beginning that tells you about like the people and what's going to happen in that chapter. Now, when I first started reading these, I kind of thought about, early children's books that have like the little picture before you read the chapter that kind of reveals what's going to happen in that chapter. But the furthermore I went in, the more I thought more of like Shakespeare and his little introductions to his plays, or, if you want a more modern analogy, like the promo for the next episode of your favorite TV show. This is what will happen next week. Right. They're also really helpful in unveiling some of the plot because it does get dogged down at parts, so you kind of need a little reference every once in a while to help you figure out what's happening. Her voice is what really drew me in and kept me reading. The best way I can describe it is like Charles Dickens. So if you like the imagery or the voice of Charles Dickens, you're gonna like Ken very much like Charles. Like, while I was reading, I would picture like her sitting and writing it all out in fine calligraphy and like an ink and quill and all those loops and those whirls to create everything, like beautiful artwork. I did my own attempt, which you'll see in the end credits, basically. Or the introduction, I don't know which way I'm gonna put it. We'll find out later. That's my cat, in case you're wondering. He's the king of tigers. There is no doubt that Cat is a fantastic writer, but she does tend to bury you in the description. She's wordy, and because of that, the story must be read slowly. It's not a quick read. Like, look at it. It is huge. Jumbo. Work out with that. Part 1 is the longest part. The rest of it moves a lot faster after part 1. I will admit, it took me quite a long time to get through the first 100 pages. She's introducing the reader to several different characters in that first part, and is important to the story that you know from the very beginning. These men's motives and where they stand morally, so that you don't, doubt their actions later on. So you're very certain of why they're doing this, what's motivating them to do this, and whether or not they'd cross that line. The rest of the book is much faster, and the whole story is told from the points of view of 13 different characters that are introduced in the first part. Each one of them has a secret that connects them in some way or another to the death of Crosby Wells and the vast fortune of gold that was found on his property. My favorite characters are Walter Mitty, Albert Gasson, and Suk Yong-shin, and Benjamin Lowenthal. Moody is our outsider. He comes in with no motives, no allegiances. He's the first point of view that you read from. He's young and intelligent, and he suffers from what I like to call a Sherlock Holmes syndrome, in where he's so smart that his actions have no real consequences. Like, he doesn't care about the consequences due to his actions. There's very much a detective quality, especially after the first part of the book, which has kind of an Agatha Christie feel to it, for me anyway. Basically, it's like a gathering of suspects, one impartial party shown up to determine or reveal who is guilty. Which, of course, makes me think of Hercule Poirot. The differences in this bit is that he doesn't actually reveal who the killer is. Because, as he states, the most likely villains, or the people who would actually know what happened, are not present at this meeting. And those, of course, are Lydia Wells, Francis Carver, Alistair Lauderback, George Shepard, Anna Winthrop, and Emery Stans. Albert Gasson is also a very intelligent character, though he's less naive and more cunning than Moody is. His actions are all very calculated, and he doesn't do anything half-hearted. There is something mysterious about him, like he's removed from the rest of the characters somehow. He is, however, clouded by the persona of Lydia Wells. Suk Yong-shin, I enjoy because he reminds me of one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite films, The Princess Bride. His philosophy is basically, you killed my father, prepare to die. The business of revenge tends to lead to self-loathing and taking undesirable jobs to make ends meet. There's not a lot of money in revenge. Lowenthal, the other character I like, isn't really in the book that much. It just amuses me that no one listens to his suggestions on what they should do, even though he's the newspaper guy. I also have a great fascination with printing, and so the part where she describes in great detail how he sets the type when he was proofing the pages, I really like that. The time period of this book and the location, which is New Zealand in the 1800s, it has been well researched and described in detail. Instead of stating, like, they were in this town during this time in this country. The atmosphere that Catton has created kind of drags you into that location, so that isn't normally referenced in like modern literature, right? Everything's always set in England or the US. The way she describes the landscape and the types of plants and the chilly cold weather, you kind of feel how those individuals are feeling. Her characters in this environment. Catton also captures, I believe, really well the mannerisms and language of the time period, so that nothing feels awkward or forced when the characters are speaking, which happens sometimes when you have like an adult trying to break what the kid was saying. So it begins slow, but that kind of allows the reader to orient themselves with the environment, right? Because it's something new. It's something that, you probably weren't even taught in school. Like, did you know that there was a gold rush in New Zealand? I didn't. But like a spark traveling along a wick. The excitement, the intensity increases the closer it gets to the end. It's an enjoyable read for those who like historical gothic mystery involving murder, multiple suspects, and so many twists and turns it could not be told in a straight line. I do not recommend this story for those who lean more to the supernatural side, because it's more about true love and the power of love than, visitors piercing through the veil. Thanks for listening. I hope to see you again in the ink and parchment of other worlds and adventures. I'm Fago Speech, and this is The Paper Theater.